What's up, guys? It's Matt from RC Overload. Welcome back. No, Cat, you're not jumping up here. No, stop. Sorry, guys. Always something in one of my videos. No, you're not coming up. How's everybody doing? I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. So today, guys, I got something really cool I wanted to show you. I've gotten my hands on the Yeti-X kit. Some of you guys are going, what the heck is that? Scratching your heads? No idea. Let me tell you. As some of you know, I recently picked up the Axial Yeti kit conversion. Excuse me. Axial Yeti kit. Okay? As you can see, I disassembled a lot of it for this Yeti-X conversion that we're doing. What this kit is we're swapping out the front end of the Axial Yeti, the weak front end, and in place, we're going to be putting the Traxxas Slash 4x4 front end in. Crazy, I know. The guys over at C.B.E. RC Fab, these guys right here, alright, cool little banner they gave me. They have come up with a way to completely swap out the front end of your Axial Yeti and beef it up all at the same time. Let me show you guys what we're going to be doing here today, alright? A lot of information, bear with me, you guys, okay? Okay? What I have here that I just placed in front of me is stage 1, okay? Stage 1 is your very basic setup. This is you're gonna make all your necessary cuts on the Yeti. Yes, you're gonna make cuts on the Yeti. And bolt everything together. So this is the basic kit, and this is what I'm gonna show you guys today, alright? Basic kit includes this beautiful 14 gauge steel plate. Alright? This thing is beefy as heck. Alright? Also comes with a upper steel plate that's going to go in place of the bat wing. Those of you that don't know what the bat wing is, it's the top part of the Yeti. Holds some of the suspension components in, the steering components in. And they also supply you with a hardware kit, everything necessary to make this change, okay? It's actually a very easy kit to do, and I'm going to walk you guys completely through the entire process. But let's go into why we're doing this, okay? We have the Slash 4x4 front end. I also have the stock Yeti 4x4 front end. Let's talk a little bit about the differences between the two. Alright, the first thing you guys are going to notice is that parts are falling off. These two kits look very similar. I know it's kind of hard to get it all on the camera, whatnot. These two kits are extremely similar. Alright? The Slash setup is much stronger and much beefier. Take a look, first thing right here. See how the control arms are mounted to the base of the Slash front end? Alright? You got pins that go through, but you don't have the gap here that you normally have on your Yeti. Big open gap, okay? This causes a problem on the Yeti. The screw comes loose, it bends, it breaks, and it sucks, okay? So the Slash front end eliminates that. It's much beefier right there, okay? Not only that, but the plastic components are much more solid than the Yetis. Also, wanted to note the pinion, the input shaft for the differential on the Yeti is a 5mm. The Slash is a 6mm. So it's bigger, it's beefier, it's better. The differentials inside, the Slash's differentials are better. And I'm not referring to the Yeti's HD differentials, because those are good. I'm talking about the regular, standard Yeti differentials. Those are weak. They suck. Just gonna say, they suck. After 2 runs, they're practically worn out, okay? That's what I experience when I'm running my truck on 3S. However, the stock Slash's differential can take that power. The entire front end is beefier, it's bigger, it's better, okay? Another reason to maybe convince you guys, if you go to your local hobby store, most of you guys will find that you have Traxxas parts there, more often than you will find Axial parts. Traxxas is more commonly found in hobby stores than Axial. I'm not saying this is all hobby stores. Some hobby stores might just carry Axial stuff and not Traxxas, but for the majority, my hobby store included, carries Traxxas parts. You can always find Traxxas parts more readily available than Axial parts. Not only that, but there's more aftermarket support for the Slash's front end than the Yetis right now. And that's just because the Slash has been out for a lot longer. So there's a lot more benefits of installing this kit into your Yeti, especially if you want to bash it. I do want to note that this is U4 compatible, okay? You can put this kit in and run on U4 races. You just got to stay within 13 inches from wheel to wheel, outside, wheel to wheel, and you have to run 2.2 sized rims. That's going to be a small problem with this. Problem being is that the Slash's knuckles and hubs are actually bigger than the Yetis. So you technically can't fit 2.2 size rims in this. However, if you put on a wide enough 6-lug hub adapter, something that's wide enough, you can usually clear that, okay? It does work. The guys over at C.B.E. RC Fab have tested that. It does work, and it still stays within the 13 inches. I'll make sure I put all that information down below, so if you guys have any questions, it'll be a little more defined down. Like I had mentioned earlier, you got to make some cuts to your Yeti, including the Slash's front end, okay? I'm going to show you guys those cuts, how to make them, and so forth, where you're going to be cutting so you're comfortable doing it. However, if you're not comfortable doing these cuts yourself, C.B.E. RC Fab has come up with 3 other versions of this kit to make it a little bit easier doing, again, if you don't want to make these cuts. So stage 1, your basics, you make the cuts, you assemble everything, you do it all yourself. You're the go-getter. Alright, stage 2, okay, includes everything from stage 1. The 2 panels, okay, the hardware kit, but it comes with everything already pre-cut. You get the lower portion of the Slash where the differential goes in and the control arms go in. It's that yellow line. That is where I'm going to be cutting, okay? So this is already pre-cut. The bat wing is pre-cut. Again, yellow is marking where I'm going to make my cuts. You'll see everything when it's done. And it's also going to include the chassis pre-cut. Alright? You still have to assemble it, but everything is pre-cut for you on stage 2. Stage 3 includes everything from stage 1 and stage 2, all the pre-cut stuff, and all the hardware and everything, as well as a fully built Slash front end with RPM parts. Cool, right? Get some beefed up suspension components. So that's stage 3. Comes with all that and a beefed up front end. Stage 4, okay, is a complete, ready-to-go Axial Yeti with the Yeti-X conversion done to it. So it's ready to go, pop in your battery, off you go and have some fun, beating the heck out of it and lasting more than 1 to 2 runs before something breaks. So, I think that's it. Anything that I forget, I'll kind of cover as we're assembling this, alright? Again, this is stage 1. I'm going to start from the basics, show you guys how to do it. Alright, you ready? Let's go. Alright guys, so now we're into getting into this and assembling the whole thing. Except for the first thing that you got to do is you're going to need to make your cuts. Again, you only need to make cuts if you're doing stage 1. So let me show you guys here. These are the 3 different cuts that you're going to need to make. I've already marked everything out in sort of a yellow crayon, but I'll bring it up close here so you guys can see. on the bat wing, you guys can see there's kind of like plastic lines that go down on each side. Those are the lines you're going to follow, okay? It's kind of what it's going to look like on the other side in a sense. Alright? This center area is what you're eliminating. You're still keeping the ends on this and on this side, okay? As far as the Slash 4x4 front end or Stampede 4x4 front end, this is what you're going to be cutting off. Exactly where I've marked off in yellow. If you guys look, if I can get this thing to focus, you can actually see how it kind of has an indent right in here. That indent basically is what's marking the path that you're going to go across with. Again, you can kind of see it on the other side. You're going before just this yellow mark. You want to keep where I've colored it in yellow right here, because that's going to help seal up the differential. The last cut, the third cut that you're going to need to make is on the Yeti, okay? You got to remove this half right here. This is the part that actually mounts up to the differential on the Yeti. As you can see how, let me try to turn it better here. See how it goes from thick here to thin down here? Well, basically where this yellow line is, you're going to be cutting straight across, okay? And I'll try to show you on the other side, okay? You're eliminating that. So I'm going to make these cuts. Oh, I need to mention one other thing. You got to make another cut elsewhere on the Yeti. The battery tray. As you guys can see, I've already actually cut mine up a little bit. Why is that? Because of the Castle Creations 2400 kV motor is a little longer than the stock Axial motor that was in here, and it actually was rubbing up against this battery tray, so I had to cut the edge of this thing out, as you guys can see, to make it fit. Now normally what we would actually be doing is making kind of like a half moon shape right in this area to cut out of the battery tray. Unfortunately for me, I'm gonna have to cut the entire section out. Don't worry, that's not going to lose any integrity of this battery tray. You still have a mount here and a screw here, as well as the same thing on the other side. So you're not really losing any integrity to the battery tray by making this kind of a cut. So I'm going to go ahead, make my cuts here off camera, because this is going to take a few minutes and I don't want to bore you guys. But when I'm done, I'll show you exactly what the cuts look like and we'll move on to the next step. I just finished cutting all the plastics in here, so I'm going to give you guys a quick idea as to what it kind of looks like without it on there, without the pieces that you don't need on there. So on the front of the chassis, I told you I was removing this bottom plate that mounts to the Yeti's differential. Okay, take a quick peek. It's pretty flush. Okay. Goes right up to the screw holes right there. It's flush, you know. Smooth it out with some sandpaper. It does help. You guys can get a general idea. Let's see. Come on, camera. Focus. Focus, focus. There we go. So as you can see, that's where I made my cuts, okay? So you're just removing this guy pretty much. Slash front end or Stampede front end. This is kind of what you're going to be left with after removing this piece off of here. So I'll bring that up close. So this is the most important one in my opinion. See how it still is flush with the differential housing? It still covers it, still keeps the dirt out of it, but I've removed the tabs on the ends, both sides here, because we want the pin, or what we're going to be putting in is a new bolt. We're going to be putting the bolt through, and we actually want it to go into the chassis here, just like the Yeti's design, except this is a little more improved. I'll show you when we get to that point. After making the cuts, we're going to move on to working with the transmission and the transfer case a little bit. Now, I've already removed my transfer case, so why don't you go ahead and pause the video and pull out your transmission and take off the transfer case. I will sit patiently. Okay, that was long enough. If you don't have it out by now, that sucks, I'm sorry. Anyways, so we have the transfer case out, and there's a reason for this, okay? We have the drive pin, drive shaft, whatever you guys want to call it here. We got to replace this, okay? Now in the C.B.E. RC Fab kit, they give you a new one, which is actually a little bit longer. Alright? This is going to go in place on the transfer case. So let's pop it open and let's swap it out. So as you guys can see a little bit, try to line these up, the silver one is actually just a hair longer. Now why is that? Because when you take your front drive shaft, okay, this end that was attached to the front differential is now going to be attached to the transfer case side. On the Traxxas Slash, on this end, we're actually going to be hooking up a new drive cup to it, okay? That extra little bit of length in this silver shaft makes up for the length difference between the differential here and the transfer case. For making the change, you got to put that little shaft in. Now you want to make sure, if you take a look at this, you have 3 holes. The middle one is going to be where your pin is going to go. This longer end here is going to go forward towards the front differential. This is going to go towards the back differential, okay? Make sense? Perfect. So let's go ahead and assemble. And then once you're assembled, it looks something like that. Okay? See, the front end is a little bit longer than the back end. It might be hard to tell on the camera, but for the most part it is, trust me. Okay? So now we can actually re-bolt this back up to the transmission because we're actually done with that aspect of it. Let's get that to line back up. Oh, come on, you. Stop that. Alright, I'm just going to jump over this part while I remount it. Okay, so I've gone ahead, reinstalled the transfer case back onto the transmission housing. I've even gone ahead and installed the front drive shaft that goes to the front differential in. Alright, there you go. Yes, we are reversing it, okay? So, now, I had spoken earlier that you needed to raise the transmission up a little bit in order to get this drive line to be straight with this new front differential, okay? Because this differential does sit a little bit higher up. So we got to raise it about 5 millimeters. Well, Carter Fab, I'm sorry, jeez. Our C.B.E. RC Fab has actually come up with a simple way. See the little spacers I've installed here? Well, that's what we're putting. We're putting in the spacers here and in the transfer case ones. Okay? This is actually a cool little trick. If you flip it over, you have your holes, okay? You take the screws that you're going to use to mount, the new K&K hardware screws that come in with the kit, and you place them all in, okay? I'm only going to do 2 for the purpose of this. Alright, so you do that, take some tape, anything, even Scotch tape, okay? Use it to just hold down the screws so they don't fall out when you flip them over, okay? See how they're sticking up right there? Then you can slide the washers down over them and apply a little bit of glue to hold the washers in place. You can use pretty much anything, shoe glue, super glue. I use super glue and they actually hold very well. So, do that. Once they dry, flip it back over, pull the tape off, pop the screws back out, and now you have yourself some studs. Well, spacers. So what I've done is, as you can see, the transmission is sitting a little higher up in the chassis, okay? I've also gone ahead and taken the new drive cup that they supply in the kit and hooked it up to the Traxxas Slash front differential, alright? So make sure you go ahead and install that as well. Look at that, a new nut that sits down there. It's what actually holds the screw that actually mounts the front differential to the chassis. Instead of the Yeti having the plastic ones, this new kit comes with metal ones. So this will actually help prevent the screw from backing out while you're bashing, okay? So why don't you go ahead, take the time, and assemble your front end to the chassis. Again, 2 really long screws. You'll see them, the length of the differential here, and they screw right in, okay? Let's take a look, okay? Remember those batwing pieces we cut off? That's what it looks like. And the reason for that is because of this new drive cup. See how it kind of sits up like that? Well, that's why. You want to open it up a little bit so that way it clears it and doesn't hit the plastic, okay? After we put our screws in, this panel is then going to sit over it and mount up to the chassis, kind of like so, alright? So I'm going to do a quick fast forward while I put all the screws in on this and get it all mounted up. Alright guys, so check it out. Finished putting in the upper plate here, okay? It's very simple to do. You got 6 different button head screws here. Take a look. You got 2 large button heads. Those are for the front diff, okay? For the front half. In the middle, you got your 2 really long button head screws that you'll see in the kit. And then on the outside edges, you're going to find 2 smaller ones, alright? So it's as simple as doing that. I put them all in, tighten them down, and then snugged them all up after everything was bolted together, alright? I've also gone ahead and installed the lower plate, okay? It's extremely easy to do, and this is pretty much the last part of this kit that you gotta assemble, alright? So what you're gonna need to do is in the back here, you're gonna need to remove the 4 black screws right in here, okay? Replace those with the K&K hardware screws, alright? Once you've mounted those up, you're gonna go up to the front here, to where the front diff is, and you're going to find 3 large countersunk screws. Those are going to get mounted up to the front diff here. So go ahead, take your time, put those in. What you're going to find out is you have 3 screws left over, as well as 3 holes on this new plate. You are going to need to drill on all 3 of these holes. You're just going to drill a little bit smaller than the screws that are supplied for it. Drill your holes and then put your screws in and you're good to go. Don't worry, these don't affect anything on the other side. Alright guys, so what did you think? Pretty simple actually. Not much to this kit besides the fact that you got to cut a few parts out of it. I think that's probably going to be the most difficult. But like I said before, C.B.E. Fab has come up with 3 other options if you don't feel like cutting the chassis yourself. However, I think that's going to be the best way to go in my opinion. Kind of makes you feel like just totally built your own custom truck. Alright, so here's one more look at this. C.B.E. Fab. Custom Yeti-X. Pretty cool. It almost looks the same. So, and that's it for today guys, honestly. Long video. Thank you for your patience. I greatly appreciate it. I am going to show you guys how to mount the body to this, as well as what tires I'm going to be running here next weekend. As you guys can see, there's no body posts. But the C.B.E. RC Fab has come up with their own little trick on mounting the body, and it's so simple, it's really cool, and it's actually very useful. As far as the tires, I think I might go something like might actually throw on my old gearhead tires and rims that I had from my other Yeti that I just swapped out. I think those will do good for a bashing rig. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, I'll post all the information in the description box, as well as how to get a hold of Cody and Tommy Greer from C.B.E. RC Fab and Greer Garage. I believe that's his name anyways. Like I said, all the information will be down in the description box. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time on the next RC Overload. See you guys later.